Welcome, everybody, to the April 12th meeting of the West River Education District.
Somebody's talking.
We'll mute Joe. There we go. All right.
Sorry, Joe.
It is my honor and pleasure as the superintendent to open up this meeting and call it to order so I can begin the reorganization of the board. So my first task will be to ask for any nominations for the chairperson. There does not need to be a second. Do I have any nominations for a chairperson?
I'll nominate Al.
I'll second it.
Okay. Al Clausen has been nominated. Would anybody else like to offer up any nominations? Anybody from the Zoom tune? Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor of electing Al Clausen as the chair of the West River Education District, please say so by saying aye. I will have to go one-on-one because we are all not in the same location. I will start in the Zoom world. Joe, what say thee?
Aye.
Crystal, what say thee?
She's saying what?
Crystal, we didn't hear you.
Aye.
Thank you, Crystal. All right. Sarah.
Aye.
Kate.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Aye.
Drew.
Aye.
My friend at Square.
Aye.
Aye. And aye.
All right.
Did you just call Lindsay Drew?
No. No, Lindsay and I saw it. Okay. It is now my pleasure to hand over the rest of this meeting to Al Clausen.
All right.
There you
Thank
go.
you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, moving on to the election of a vice chairperson. Entertain a nomination. And as Bill said, only need one. Or not one nomination, sorry, one.
I'll nominate Joe Winrich.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, I think Joe was there.
I'll second that.
We're gonna have lots of seconds. All right.
We just
Well trained.
Do we have any other nominations for vice chair? All right, seeing none, we'll do the same. We'll take a vote and we'll start in Zoom land.
Emily just joined.
Emily just joined. Oh, thank you. Okay. And we'll start with Crystal.
Aye.
Thank you. And Emily?
Can I still connect?
Oh, we're still connecting. Okay. And Joe?
Aye.
And Emily, if you can hear us.
Yeah, but I don't know what you're voting on, sorry.
Sorry, Joe for vice chair. Sorry, yeah.
I'm in.
All right.
Yes.
Sarah?
Sorry about that, I could not connect, I apologize.
No problem. I'm sorry, sir.
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
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 And aye. And okay, Mr. Vice Chair, congratulations.
Thank you.
Where are you driving?
This is going well.
We'll never know.
Just remember, this is recorded and it can be used against you.
All right.
I'm by Narragansett High School, wherever that is, out on Route 2, coming back from Boston.
Oh,
But I
okay.
have to stop because I'll drive out of cell service and you'll lose me.
Gotcha.
It's safer that way anyway.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, but I get home that much later.
Sorry. I'll
That's
speed it
all
up.
right.
Thanks, Joe. All right, I'll entertain a nomination for clerk.
Who was our clerk?
That was Mike. Mike Foley.
Yes, we need a clerk.
I'll nominate Drew.
I'll decline and nominate Lindsay.
I'll decline.
And go ahead, you get a
I'm gonna
nominate.
nominate Leanne.
Oh,
You're declining too?
Leanne's
Oh, this one
accepting the
might stay.
nomination.
This one could.
All right.
All right.
exciting.
Any other nominations for clerk? Seeing none, we'll start out there. Joe, how do you vote?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
Crystal?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
And I. All right, carries unanimously. Welcome aboard. Thank you, Leanne. All right, and, okay, so, apologize, but before I move on to that, I just wanted to, I don't think we officially announced our new folks, and I just wanted to have them take a second to introduce themselves, and we'll start with Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate Gehring. I live in Williamsville in Newfane, and I'm happy to be here with you all.
Great, thanks, Kate. You here?
I'm Peter Broussard. I just graduated class of 2022 from Leland and Gray, and I'm a Newfane resident.
Thank you very much. Welcome aboard. Both of you. Appreciate it. All right, on
Do
to.
we have to do these separately, or can we make one motion to vote on a whole bunch of them?
You could.
That might speed things up.
Yep, I like that.
So D through.
Who's our current paper of record?
I.
Brattleboro Reformer.
So I'd like to make a motion that the authorized signatures be the officers of the board, that the paper record be the Brattleboro Reformer, that the meeting dates and times stay the same as they were this year, that our truancy officer be the Windham County Sheriff, and I'll stop at that.
Okay. I know that there has been some interest on the meetings, times, and dates, and potentially moving it back to Monday. So that would be the only, let me get, we'll do a straw poll. What's everybody's feeling on moving it back to Monday? I'm not taking a vote here, just what everybody thinks. No, no,
I
no.
prefer Wednesday.
That's,
And it doesn't make a difference to me.
Doesn't make a difference.
that's the second Monday? Or the,
It would be the,
Third.
basically 2 days ago, so
Second Monday.
is it?
Yeah, that works.
Second Monday, yes.
that would work
sorry.
for me.
Yeah, okay. Anybody, so 3
I'm
no's?
flexible.
Flexible.
Yeah.
Does it preclude you from joining? Does
Mondays
it
are bad for me, yeah.
Mondays are horrible, okay. Emily, Joe, Crystal, thoughts?
I'm happy to go back to Mondays, as you all know.
It's better for your schedule?
I think there are more conflicts on Wednesdays for me personally, but we also did this as an experiment to try and change the meeting night because maybe we would have more public, and I don't think we've had any more or less public with a Wednesday versus a Monday, and I think Monday's a better meeting night for us for a lot of people.
Okay. Crystal?
Why don't we extract that and then just have a separate vote on it? Sure.
Yeah, I found it easier to attend on a Monday.
Okay.
I'll accept the friendly amendment, that's fine.
Okay. To
Move
Monday?
it to Monday? Sure.
We good? I mean, we're not taking a vote yet anyway, but, okay.
So you're keeping the slate, you
Yep.
just changed it to Monday.
Everything to, okay, so Monday, second Monday.
I don't need to be difficult
of
though.
You got a lot of time for that.
All right, so authorized signatures, officers, performer, paper of record, meetings, times, dates, second Monday, 7 PM. And appointment of truant officer would be the Windham County Sheriff. And that is the motion. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Dana. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. Starting with you, Emily, how do you vote?
Yes.
Joe?
Aye.
Crystal?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Kate?
I,
Peter?
Aye.
Drew?
Aye.
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 And I. All right, motion carries unanimously, thank you. Did you want to continue with the next two?
I don't know, I didn't know who to throw at the policy committee, so that's why I had to stop.
Good, that was probably a good stop, yeah.
Anybody interested to be on the policy committee?
Right. Did we had, was it three or?
We had Lindsay, Ken,
and
Mike.
Correct. This is for, this has WCSU though.
Oh, this is just, oh,
To
WCSU.
the
So
WCSU.
it's one.
WCSU.
It'll happen like 5 times a year. It almost always virtually. Peter, you.
I'll nominate Peter.
Right?
We, how many, just one?
One.
Perfect.
Boom.
All right, any other nominations? Seeing none. Emily, how do you vote?
Yes, aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Crystal?
I,
Sarah?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Aye.
Lindsay?
Aye.
And
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Peter, appreciate it. Let's see, WCSU reps.
Right, so
Generally the three.
our board gets
Is it 5 or 6?
six reps.
Okay. So officers.
6 out of the 14.
Plus 3. Okay. In addition to the officers, who would like to be on the, be a rep for the WCSU? Dana, all right.
Peter, since you're doing the policy.
Here I was
So
thinking
the
that this
meeting-
would get me out of.
It's the last Wednesday of the month, 6 times a year is the normal time during budget process, during like September, October, and November. It'll be a little bit. more.
Virtual fine?
Virtual, always virtual.
Always virtual.
Perfect. Okay, I guess so.
Okay, all right, that's 2.
That's the last thing.
Lindsay was interested?
I think Drew.
Did I see the hand?
Fine.
I'm happy to continue on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got Emily too.
Emily, all right. Unless.
That's all right. I'm happy to.
So who-
Emily.
Emily.
So we have the officers.
3
There's
officers,
Dana,
Peter, Emily, and
Oh.
Dana.
And Dana, yes.
Yep.
I've been attending them kind of sneaky.
You're always there.
So I don't know.
You're always hanging out, so.
Yeah.
I'll send you an invite.
Thank you.
Oh. If I'd read ahead, I would have, update, current new board members. All right, well, we already did that, so I jumped the gun on that. But yes, again, Kate, Peter, welcome.
Do we want to vote on our WCSU?
Oh,
Let's do that. Thank you, yes. So, yeah, so we have a motion, or, no, you need a motion. to
I
have
would
the-
move that all those people we just said
Thank
are
you,
our
Lindsay.
WCSU representatives.
All right, do we have a second?
Yes.
Drew, all right. Any discussion? Seeing none. Emily, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Crystal?
I,
Sarah?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Aye.
Drew?
Aye.
Lindsay?
Aye.
Aye.
And motion carries unanimously. Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, so again, we already updated current board members. Mailing address, email. Do we have, I assume we have all of this, the mailing address, email
Yeah.
address, home, all that
You've done the edges.
for the new board members?
Yep.
We're good, we're all set. Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, so Vice is Joe, Leanne is Claire. Okay.
Very good. Moving on to our board norms, which are to maintain our focus, communicate respectfully, be present, keep the board productive and effective, and respect the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
Under new business, the students will be presenting information on the Rebel mascot in May.
Okay, moving to May. Very good. Anything else?
How many students do we expect to be?
It's a PLP class of 8th graders, so.
I think that may be a interesting, maybe well-attended meeting.
it
Should
hopefully
we
would be.
think about maybe changing the venue to accommodate what could be a larger crowd?
Like a Dutton kind
Like
of
a
style?
gym type, maybe? I have a feeling that may be
That might bring out some.
that may bring out some
ripples.
people,
May 8th
Yeah.
so.
will be the second Tuesday.
Wait,
Monday.
what?
Monday.
What?
Monday.
Monday.
Second Monday, not Tuesday.
Okay, but the date is correct.
The date is correct. It's a Monday.
Okay, so it'll be May 8th,
Yes.
7 o'clock, and we need to reserve Dutton.
Just a suggestion.
And
Probably a good idea.
will you?
Yeah.
I agree. Tell
Student
people.
council?
I can tell student council, or you can tell that one.
I was gonna say,
The
student
class president's
council.
over here.
Class president's asking. May 8th, the 8th grade PLP group will be presenting their research on the mascot, and we want to make sure that all the students know that that will be happening at 7 o'clock.
On the morning announcements.
Awesome.
I got it.
Thank you very much.
And we'd love to have them come.
Absolutely.
All of them.
Tis their school.
It is their school.
That's right. Yeah, please do.
Um,
Good call. All right.
Okay, done. Good.
Any other changes?
Hey, Al,
Yes.
it looks like the voice from above because everybody looks up, but I just wanted to say I am actually having a hard time hearing, and I may be the only one, but I have headphones on and everything, and I can hear.
That's got a battery in it, so it's synced.
Oh, it is, okay.
I think.
Yeah.
So let me just say, I'm hearing Bill pretty well. You're very garbled, and when it gets down to the other side of the table, it's worse. So I don't know. I can figure it out. I got a headset in, but I don't know whether it's making it hard for a recording either. But it's pretty garbled, and that I do this Zoom all the time, and I've never heard this happen before.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, I hear you perfectly clear out of this speaker, but you're saying that I'm garbled, or we're garbled on this end.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear you right now, but when people are talking, it's sometimes really hard to understand. I mean, Bob's on here, Crystal's on here, Joe's on here. Maybe they're having no problem, but if they say it's no problem, I will get through.
I just texted Bill the exact same thing. It is very garbled.
Same thing, I can't hear.
Okay.
I'll check my.
I was blaming the fact that I was on a cell phone, but yeah, you can piece the words together, but it is
Why is
difficult.
my voice the only clear one?
Is there a
Important
speaker?
Is it a connection?
No, because this is
We
now.
don't have enough signals here to put it out there.
Maybe it's that one.
Oh, could be. Picking up on that one, yeah.
You want to test the microphone now?
So just asking, it's not a matter of volume?
Is that better?
It's,
Test the microphone now.
That's
So just asking, it's not a matter.
Try it now.
Whoa, sorry.
I just tested again now. I was making sure it was working.
all right, how's that sound?
I can hear you much better. How about?
Better? Okay.
I
Thank
don't know
you.
about, maybe Drew could speak, because I could hardly hear Drew.
That's not a bad thing.
No, now I can hear you, Drew. That's a good thing.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you. I apologize, but it was just really tough.
No,
Thanks.
I appreciate it. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. We have no idea. You sound great. So, all right. Very good. Any other changes to the agenda? I don't think we. All right, so let's move on to our student report.
All right, thank you. We have officially started all of our spring sports, even through high school and middle school. We've had 2 track meets so far. We've had 1 disc game, which was today, and I think softball and baseball have just done scrimmages, right? Your first game tomorrow?
Both of us. Away.
It's softball and baseball have just done scrimmages so far, and they are starting games. Softball tomorrow. I don't know when baseball is starting. We're still moving through. Tomorrow as well. We're still moving through our PBLs. I know in my PBL, we are still working on, we've just started working on our longer films for my movie making PBL. And that's very exciting because we made a short, 1-minute films. Now we're working up to like 5 to 7 minute films. Any questions?
What is your film going to be on?
I don't know yet.
What was your 1 minute film on?
My 1 minute film was about someone losing a ball, and it bounced all around the school and came back to them at the end.
And how long would you guess in hours did it take to make a 1 minute film?
Like an hour and a half,
Okay.
Wow.
A 90-to-1 ratio.
just about.
Wow, so a full day for your longer one.
Yep. That's what I expect.
Cool. Any other questions? Thank you, appreciate it, Jar. All right, moving on to correspondence. WRED.
Yeah, so I included it in all the board's packet, but we had received in January a blanket letter from the Rutland NAACP that was copied to us that was sent to the AOE. And so we received that correspondence. I followed our policy, which was to invite the people that would like to speak about the mascot. And as you can see on the email back, that that offer to come and speak was determined that they did not want to do that. So I'm just letting the board know that we followed our policy. We invited anyone who would like to speak about the mascot to the board, and that offer was chosen not to be followed. So just wanted to follow up on our initial communication from the Rutland NAACP. That's the first correspondence. Any questions on that?
Can I ask
Yeah,
you a board member
absolutely.
question? Has this been an ongoing conversation in the larger community or in the board, or is this the first, is this the conversation opener?
Great question. A law changed in December, and so the board was required to adopt a policy about a mascot review if it came before them. And so when a request came, we followed the policy to invite the people to come and talk about it. And then if that happens, then the board has the opportunity to review the request if there's a request to change the mascot. And they will then go through a process that will be facilitated by myself and the principal. So we were preparing for that. And our social studies teacher in middle school, who was a very active participant in our board meetings, heard the initial request and said, that sounds like a really good research project for my class. And so that was the group that was going to present tonight. They're going to present their research on what they found on the history of the mascot at Leland and Gray in May. And we will continue to follow the policy if any requests come forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. The second request comes in an email titled Transportation Committee. And if I distill this down, and Joe, correct me if I've got this wrong, that the group West River Valley 100% Renewable is requesting that the West River Education District Board create a subcommittee, the formation of a transportation subcommittee of the board that would work to towards the goals of having a fleet of electric school buses that the West River District would participate in. Did I get that right, Joe?
That is essentially the ask, yes.
Okay. So the correspondence has come to ask the board if they are interested in creating a subcommittee, so the board can act on that request. The board can ask me to put it on an agenda item for May and let the West River Valley 100% Renewable have the time to come and say why they would like to have the committee, and then that would allow the board to have a consideration period. Whatever the board pleases to do, I will follow your direction.
Something changed from the last conversation that we had?
Joe, the question was, has anything changed since we had this conversation 9 months ago?
No, it's essentially the same group of people, and they now think that, since there's a long runway, we should start looking around for some sort of an alternative, because, at the last one, we had the opportunity and then were shut down cold by the current bus provider. I'm not sure. I think, my personal opinion is we should make this an agenda item, and we should get the people in to speak to us about this, and we can talk about what we want to do. I mean, I did just see that Brattleboro is working with a company that provides bus service, and they're exploring electric buses. And that may be an opportunity for us to jump on that bandwagon and expand electric bus service, throughout southern Vermont. It did seem to make sense 9 months ago. We just ran into the roadblock of our current transportation contractor was unwilling to get on board with it. So, it might be worth having them speak to us and doing something again to look at this.
And Joe, remind me, how many more years do we have left in that
That was a
contract?
long answer for no.
We're in year 1 of the 3.
You're one of 3? Yeah, that was fine.
Are we?
Year 1 of 5.
5. Okay.
So
We're definitely year 1.
Yeah.
So I guess, and last time around, we heard from everybody but our bus company. So
That is correct.
We heard from our bus company at the end.
they never came to a board meeting.
No.
So this
No,
board
but
never.
they
heard
just
from
said
us.
they're not gonna do it, period.
So, it says, I guess, unless we're working on a plan for 5 years from now, I would say that we should probably hear from our bus company. If we're going to invite somebody to talk about electric buses, maybe we should invite the bus company to show up, as opposed to having an hour and a half or 2 hours of board conversation to realize that the bus company wasn't invited.
Right, won't play. It doesn't, yeah.
So should I create an agenda item and invite the bus company and let West River Valley 100% Renewable know that there'll be a agenda item at the May meeting? And we've also invited our transportation company to come as well. Is that?
Yeah, I would say that makes sense, but question,
Works for me.
on the contract, what is the penalty for breaking a contract?
Paying the
Year one?
contract?
The entire contract, remaining 4 years.
I mean, I would have to reread the contract, but
And it seems like a pretty steep.
I don't believe there's a out, because you have to plan for
Right.
buying buses, repairing buses, preparing buses, storing buses,
Okay.
Drivers.
drivers. But I'll make sure that we have our operations manager here, and I'll invite the bus company, and I'll let West River Valley 100% Renewable know that we'll make an agenda item. Does that sound like a reasonable?
It does.
Can I?
Go ahead, Emily.
Thank you. I just want to say that I think this is information gathering. I don't think this is about breaking contracts or anything else. I think this is just a discussion, and I would welcome the discussion from both the perspective of West River Transportation and West River 100% Renewable. I think it's important. This is really, we aren't talking about breaking contracts. We're talking about what both sides feel about this. And I would echo what Joe said, just that other districts are looking at it regionally as well. It's been a year since we've had this conversation or more, and I think we should hear what our communities would like to say.
Okay, thanks, Emily.
Okay, I will take care of that for the next meeting on May 8th, which is a Monday. Our third correspondence comes from the Mark Schaber, who is a director on behalf of the River Valley Unified School District Board. It is a picture that was.
Yes.
And this was approved by the River Valley's board to be sent. So Mr. Schaber writes that he has been paying attention, or the board has been paying attention, that Leland and Gray or West River is considering long-term planning, and that the River Valley, part of the River Valley District in Dover, operates an international baccalaureate school, and wanted to know if the West River District wanted to speak with a representative from the River Valley District about if West River is interested in implementing an IB program in middle and high school. So I could put an agenda item on here and invite this individual to come and speak to the board, and for the board to hear directly about that interest. The board could write back and say what interests you. It might be easiest just to invite an individual to come and talk about it.
In June.
Since I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
don't know what
let's
they're
make an
talking about,
agenda
so
item.
yes. It would be nice to know what we're talking about.
Okay.
In June.
In June?
June?
Because May would
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah,
be-
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah.
the thing? Yeah. June invite, got it.
Makes sense.
That
Bob,
would be what we're
go ahead, Bob.
talking
Yeah, I was gonna say an alternative to doing that, waiting for the June meeting and all that would be to just charge the administration to kind of meet with Matt Martin, principal at Dover Schools, learn more about it. And then maybe Dana and I and Jesse could come back with some other information. One of the things that, it's a super intriguing idea, I think. And I think particularly in the avenue of generating some more student participation from Dover at Leland and Gray. However, there's a lot going on next year for first year principal, and I just really want to be careful not overwhelming him, but I do think learning more about it, rather than having someone from River Valleys come and tell us about it, or having our principal elect meet with their principal and learn more about it, then maybe the conversation should be more internal. I don't think we need the River Valley board members here talking about it. I think we can do this internally.
Yeah, that's good. Part of the principal report next time.
Sorry, can I just get a quick explanation on two of the acronyms used? The NEASC.
New England Association of Secondary.
Yup, okay. I get the general idea.
That's it.
So what was the other one?
Well, and then, and then just what does the IB, the international,
Baccalaureate.
that,
Stuff.
yup.
What is it?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I think that's what we will find out.
Oh,
And we will
okay.
share.
Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's a good call. We throw around a lot of acronyms and forget what they are sometimes.
So
Yeah.
Bob, you will talk with Dana about connecting with Matt Martin, who is the principal of Dover. And at some point, doesn't have to be May, we'll just report back to the board what you've learned and kind of your thinking.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Dana's actually, I think, on this call as well, listening. So, sorry, Dana, to give you more work. But yeah, I think that's a good next step. Just the two of them engage in a conversation and then, learn more a little bit about it. The short version to answer Peter's question is that it's an internationally recognized structure for curriculum and delivery of instruction in a school setting. It can be anywhere from K to 12. So it is something that's internationally known, obviously, and standardized in some way. So there's positives and negatives to that. And so it's worth having the conversation about.
Great. Thanks, Bob. All right. Okay, anything else? That was it for correspondence?
Yes. Jam bar.
Okay.
Jamba.
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 We're still trying to figure out whether it's Jamba or Jamba. But I'm going to have Heidi, our president, speak.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Heidi Pancake. I'm the chairperson of the Jamaica Area Mountain Bike Alliance. And yeah, there's always some new comments. So we met with Monica at the Jamaica Elementary School with the new town administrator and our mountain bike group. We formed, just a little background, we formed in 2019. Working with the Vermont Forest Parks and Rec to work in the state park of Jamaica to try and get some mountain bike trails going in there. That project is on hold and we're working with the state. Our pre-proposal has been accepted, but that project will take a long time working with the state. We do have our first trail at the Ball Mountain Lake. The professional trail builders at Slate Valley, or who built out Slate Valley Trails in Poultney, They came down and built that last fall, and they'll be working on the second part of that this spring, and it will open June 2nd, so it's super exciting. I know the high school got some bikes, so we hope that they can get up there and ride that trail. So we were speaking with Monica at the Jamaica Elementary School to see if the school was interested in having a mountain bike skills track or pump track or some sort of mountain biking on the property that would be available for recess. I work at a school now in Brattleboro that has bikes that are available during recess, and it is awesome. And so that could be available to students. And so in our conversations, we kind of see the next step. We're a chapter of the Vermont Mountain Bike Association. That's our parent chapter. And so they have a landowner access agreement that they've put together. That's an agreement for 10 years for work on private land, which the land now is owned by the district, is what I was told. So I believe it would be, the landowner agreement would be with the district. If you wanted to write, some other schools in Vermont have just done the landowner access agreement as it's written, but if you would rather do some sort of MOU or other agreement, if you are interested in having us move forward with a project encouraging mountain biking on the land that the Jamaica school is on. So that's our ask, is that I have a copy of the landowner access agreement, and it is a 10-year access agreement, but if you decide at some point that you're done with it, it's not a binding agreement, but it is used for funding purposes. Most grant organizations are looking for some sort of agreement with the landowner in order to build on that land. So, but like I said, it could be, if you decided to have a different MOU, like with the Army Corps of Engineers, it's a challenge partnership agreement. So different public land works differently. But like I said, like I believe it's Morrisville or Town. I have to look which one. They just did a skills track at their elementary school, and I believe they worked with the landowner agreement. So I have this here. I also have the letter from the executive director of the mountain bike organization explaining the landowner access, and also just the Vermont Landowner Liability Act, which protects landowners. So VEMBA has additional insurance on top of that Landowner Liability Act, which is an awesome thing we have here in Vermont that protects landowners if people are recreating on their land. So I can leave that with you. I do see that you have action here, so if you have any questions, also we're here, and Karen and Benzie are here too.
I mean, my only thought was I would just like to call VIII, our insurance company, and just, just have that checked and then report back to the board, or have permission if VIII okays it.
Yeah, they may want a different agreement of some sort other than the homeowner one.
I think I'd like to make a motion to approve it after it's run, or authorize the board or the superintendent, whoever needs to sign it after it's been run through our insurance company or whoever else we can run it through.
I'll second that.
Yeah, as long as VII's cool.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Heidi talked about the grade school, but it would be open to the public, and
Right,
you know,
of
there
course.
would be little tiny kids could be on it with their little what bikes?
Strider bikes.
Strider bikes, and
Yeah, I want to make it available
and
for
senior
everyone.
citizens. You know, there could be tracks specifically made for senior citizens who could get out and do some exercising.
Would there be a chance and opportunity to offer this to the Newbrook, the one in Newbrook?
Sure, we're open. We are the Jamaica area mountain bike alliance.
Yeah.
For a reason. Yeah, because we know that many of our Jamaica residents go to the different schools within the district.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the business.
And you know, we also had Bill. We had talked about working down on the property down lower. It is under Act 250, which complicates things, but it also it's not. It can be done here on this property as well. Well, it could be reviewed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to approve the request for the land use authorization for JAMBA per the superintendent checking with our insurance company.
Any other discussion? Sure.
Would it, I'm not understanding, is it just for the Jamaica property?
Yeah, this would be just for the Jamaica.
Would it be, oh, sorry.
That's what our ask is.
I'm just wondering if it would be acceptable to include all the school properties? Because I know Newbrook actually has been trying to put in a mountain bike track for a few years.
Yeah.
And we just haven't been able to make it happen. We don't have the know-how or the resources, really, is basically what it comes down to.
Well, what might be kind of a normal thing that would happen in a multi-building district is by having this happen and having a model of how it happens and having the citizens bring it to the board, that might make it even more actionable for other citizen groups to bring it forward.
As far as the legalities of it, could we maybe amend the motion to say that we would just approve it on all of our district properties?
They're only asking for the Jamaica property, and they can only
Fair.
be responsible
Fair.
for that building. But, I mean, if
Got it.
next meeting, somebody comes from Newfane and wants
And
to do it.
also, if you have if you have a group of people who are working on that project, I'm more than happy to
More
come.
interested.
Yeah, Java will come down and meet with you, for
That would
sure.
be awesome. Thank you. I'll be in touch.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none. I'll start with you, Emily. How do you vote?
Aye.
And Joe?
Aye.
Crystal?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
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 Aye. And aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Yeah,
Really
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
You should vote too, Trevor.
What kind of time frame are we looking at?
Depending on grants and decisions on, what exactly the track will look like, it could be a year, it depends on all of those factors.
Yeah.
But there are now for VEMBA, there are quarterly grants that we can apply for through VEMBA, and there's a lot of money this year, so hopefully, yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Let's see. Yes, student request. Class President Catherine Shaw. Go ahead, give it to us.
All right, so I'm here to represent the senior class today, and we are asking for $5,000 for our senior class trip and our class gift. Unfortunately, because of COVID, our class had 2 years where we were unable to properly fundraise, and we are asking for this money to help cover the cost of the trip and part of the gift, hopefully, both. Although we have tried very hard to fundraise this year, the lack of time we have been given has made it very difficult. Thanks.
And just for context, a very similar request was asked of this board at this time last year, and it was unanimously approved.
So I'll make the motion, and I'd like to speak to it.
All right, second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
We anticipating a fund balance this year?
I think I included that in the, yes.
Excellent, thank you.
And I believe it's in excess of $5,000. Any other discussion? Seeing none?
Whoa.
Oh, yes?
Make her work for it more than that.
I was gonna say, what?
So where is your trip?
Oh boy, do I have a story to tell you. We were planning to go to Old Orchard Beach, and then we found out that the date that we are going, nothing will be open. So then we were like, oh, let's go to Six Flags. That's not open either. So now the plan is to go to Boston for the day and hopefully end the day at a Red Sox game.
Oh.
And the $5,000 would be so helpful.
What day is it?
May 30th.
Do you need extra chaperones?
I take all the chaperones.
Where are they playing? If it's Orioles, I'll chaperone.
I think it's the Astros.
Ugh. Cheaters.
Tuesday? I just figured we could do that
Tuesday.
a little bit.
You go, is it a 7 o'clock game?
It's a 7 o'clock game.
You guys gonna have a bus?
Yes, we're hoping to get a code bus.
Okay.
Extra passenger right here.
Should we add to the motion that you gotta take the superintendent with you? Caveat is you're stuck with
One of his last acts as superintendent, yeah.
Superintendent, nothing, take the whole board.
We would like more money if that's what
We need a bigger bus.
That was the gift, right?
I think we made him work pretty hard for that.
That's better, thank you. That was good.
Well, the gift was brought up. Is there an idea for a gift?
No, we don't wanna know yet.
No.
Oh,
wait, it's a secret.
Hush, hush.
Come on, my bad.
Before, spoiler.
It's a gift.
We'll have a reveal party for Peter.
All right. All those in favor, starting with Emily.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
And Crystal.
Aye.
Sarah.
Aye.
Kate.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Aye.
Lindsay.
Aye.
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 And aye. Motion carried. Well, yeah, there you go. That's worthy of a vote for that one, yes.
He's all primed for next year.
All right, so we are skipping over the next one for that. That will be at our May meeting on May 8th, the Rebel mascot presentation. And let's see, so starting for principals' reports. Boy, I'm getting old, I gotta squint. Let's start on the top of the deck here. Let's go with you, Bob.
Excellent, thank you guys. So a lot going on as we near the end of the year. And as you guys heard the stuff for the seniors, we're beginning to plan. Our state testing is happening, coming up after break, which is next week. And yeah, just getting ready for the end of the year stuff. Dana has been taking the lead on the hiring for new teachers for next year. And the one thing I know he's going to update you a little bit on, there was a request for questions about PLP, personalized learning plan. So I do want to give you a little bit of background before he talks about his vision, just so you guys had a sense of what has been going on historically. So the short answer is not much around PLPs. When I arrived, there had been a couple different people that had been assigned to do and manage the PLP process. This was stuff that they were added to their already full-time jobs. Very little traction was made with that. When we jumped in, we started obviously working on the proficiencies, which led us to our work with project-based learning, and PLPs would have been the natural course as far as tracking the proficiencies and personalized learning and figuring out where you go. And we've done a lot of the work, as you know, around the personalized learning part with a bunch of new programming, things like that in place, and the project-based learning stuff. But COVID obviously had a significant interruption in our world, and so that was something that just did not get moved on. So I know Dana has some thoughts about where to go with that moving forward, so I'll let him jump in here and talk a little bit about that. But I wanted you to know the background. We are required by law to have PLPs in place to minimally at least identify students who are utilizing vouchers for dual enrollment. And so that part I think we're doing as a compliance kind of checkmark thing only, but it's really not in any meaningful way. So that's the setup for Dana to talk a little bit about his vision moving forward.
Thank you. It's a good setup. First of all, I want to clarify, they really are the connective tissue in a school. PLP is an opportunity to put students at the center of everything that we do. It's a place that would, you can have it physical, you can have it on a Google website. There's different ways that schools run their PLPs, but it's a place for students to process their hopes and their future goals, and then connect it to the learning that they're doing in school. Teachers can see that with clarity and help students to understand and develop their school skills. It's really the next step, like Bob said. The one thing I want to be clear about, though, is the staff really has to be involved with unifying their understanding, developing the steps for implementation, and then once we move into that stage, we also have to pull students and parents into the feedback loop so that the personalized learning portfolios really become what the school community needs them to be. I definitely think this aspect is something that Leland and Gray can excel at, and it will provide benefits for everyone involved, but especially the students. Sometimes with a larger school, a personalized learning portfolio can become a checklist, and it may meet some of the requirements of the mandate, but my hope is that it would be an organic living document for our students. It basically would be a document where they would collect evidence around the beginning of their journeys as lifelong learners. So timing, it's hard to know exactly what that requirement will be. I do want to make sure that the staff has time to process and develop the correct path, but they really are a wonderful element of schools, and I think our students and parents are going to be really excited about it as we get into it more.
Thanks, Dana. Question on that. So I would assume, or it's safe to say that there'll be professional development wrapped around that over the next upcoming years?
Yeah, my experience with it was with a group of teachers, and we educated ourselves, we unified our vision, we solidified our implementation and practice for it, and actually the teachers that had built up that skill base ran the professional development with the rest of the teachers in school. It was over a couple of days of professional development. And that way we have our own leaders for the initiative in the building. It was successful. It was very positive, and then of course COVID. But yeah, I'd love to do it again, and the benefits to the students are huge. And I think once they get involved with it and a taste, we can start pulling their feedback and ideas too. The interesting aspect is you're talking grades 6 to 12, so there's a great opportunity to have that portfolio evolve developmentally through their years at Leland and Gray so that it benefits them as they change. I think it's exciting. It's a really cool opportunity. And I would say this too, even now, like initially a lot of it was focused on academics, but coming out of COVID and knowing how our MTSS model works, it'd be a great opportunity to embed SEL aspects of it. Like, what are you working on in terms of your communication skills, your maybe anger management skills? Are you working on? I mean, it's a great opportunity to develop our students as whole, well-rounded people that are reflective and grow.
Thanks, Dan. Any questions? Go ahead, Peter.
So as a student, as a recent student, I can definitely say that, as Mr. Tebow said, it was more of a bucket list. We hit it once or twice. I think once in middle school and once as a freshman I talked about it. But my biggest question about it is, will there be a focus on helping students towards a career development? I think that's a really important thing that isn't touched on as much as it should be.
Yeah, it's a great question, and the answer would be absolutely to help clarify where students are headed in their futures. It's not unusual for a student 1 month in middle school to think, oh, I'm going to be a chef, and then great, we work on that. We think about that. We develop all of our skills, math, your social studies, your science, everything can be tied into that somewhat. But then 6 months later, oh, I want to pursue this. Sure, that's normal. But still what they're going to start to notice is everything we practice and study at school ties into their goals. And as they get older, we can help them specialize and develop their skills more to match their future goals. The key part of this is, though, if we're touching it up in on a monthly basis, maybe a weekly basis, it's always in the student's mind that the urgency of learning matters to their future. But we're also going to have students that have ideas about what they want to do when they leave Leland and Gray. They're going to feel confident that they're prepared for that journey ahead of them, that they've practiced and developed skill sets to help them. Whatever they start with and whatever they decide, if they do decide to change in their futures. I think statistically they're saying now our current graduates may have 5 different jobs, professions, careers in their lives. And it's like, you need a rich education and skill set, and especially to know yourself as a learner if you're going to have to adapt that much. And that's one of the benefits of the PLP is that you understand yourself as a learner. You know how to set goals, work for them, reflect, and keep that practice cycle going. So that's a wonderful question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Crystal, go ahead. Then we'll come back to you.
Before I talk about what I need to talk about, if there's any other questions about the PLP, they can go first. My question is a little redundant and not involving the PLP.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Crystal.
Thank you.
I guess my question is more of a hope that, less of a question and more of a, here's my hope, is that these PLPs will actually be used by staff. I hear a lot of talk about how important these are going to be for students to look at and for students to track their own goals and whatnot. But I really hope that this is also turns into something that staff are using to become really intimately familiar with what their students' goals are and actually how they can help these students to achieve them. And I hope that it's the same level of importance for every student. And I know we have, a lot of things in place for students that might need some extra help or accommodations of some sort. But we don't really have systems in place to support students who may be on the high end of things. We don't have official systems. Anyway, I hope that these PLPs will help guide that so that all students have some sort of system in place to best meet their own personal learning goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And your point is well taken that really it becomes a document that staff can access to learn about their students. Many times when we talk with students, it's like, well, sure is a way I could tell the teachers this, but I don't want to just walk up and say it. Like, it's a format for so many different aspects of their education, but not only teachers, but also for parents to be involved. It's not unusual to have a cycle where parents have to check in on their students' PLP once a month, have a discussion at home, document it, so that it really is pulling everybody together around the students to support them in their progress and their growth, which is, it's wonderful. It will definitely take some time to get it developed and online and to get those practices in place, but it is sorry about that, it is so early.
Thanks.
Maybe the bear, who knows? Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Dana, is this something that if we get it nailed down through 6 through 12 that we can bring it to the elementary level? start sooner?
It's a great question. Some of the elementary schools are practicing with it, and really, out of fairness, we need to reach out to them and see what they're using and where their students are, so that we're not jamming those kids up when they come in with a completely new process. And so that's going to be one of our tasks, is to see which schools are already using the PLPs, how are they using, what style questions, and then grow from there. Yeah, it's always good to be kind of thinking about your own learning and process, and I think it's going to be awesome at Leland and Gray. We have like the perfect size to really pull it off, and ultimately, like, again, larger schools, they're not going to be able to compete with us, because we're going to be able to give that attention and care to every student.
Thank you. Peter?
So this is another acronym question. The MC something S?
MTSS.
That one. What's that one?
That's multi-tiered systems of support. So
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
Peter, keep doing this, because you know what? We
People out there
we nod our
may not
heads,
know.
but sometimes we don't always know the acronyms.
public
We know what
may
they
not know.
are, but yeah, not these. Yep, good call. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bob, Dana, anything else?
Back to Crystal.
Oh, yes, sorry. Crystal, was it in regards to something for Bob and Dana, or something else?
Yes, I sent you and Bob correspondence today. I was contacted by a parent who apparently was told by a Leland and Gray student that we now provide litter boxes in the classrooms, and students are being walked around on leashes, which I know is absurd. I assured the parent this absolutely was not happening. But if Bob and Dana could reiterate again that we do not have litter boxes in our school.
I love this, because it's like the greatest urban or rural legend, I guess in our case, ever. The number of questions I received about the so-called furries and litter boxes in the bathrooms is in more volume than I've had questions about our academics. just understand that. And no, this is not true. There are no litter boxes. There are no children on leashes. This is something that you hear about in schools all over the place. This is just like one of those weird urban legends that spread, but no, absolutely untrue. But it does make me chuckle every time I hear it.
Thank you for.
Thank you, because I assured them this was not happening, and they were like, a student told me. And I'm like, okay, but I have a student there, and I'm at the school frequently, but they wanted to hear it from the staff.
Thank you for debunking that, Bob.
Mythbuster music, man.
Yeah, Mythbuster. Oh, man. Okay.
It's the end of the year.
Yeah. All right, Monica, moving on to you.
Yeah, that's hard to follow up.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. I'll give it my best shot. So Jamaica Village School. First of all, let me say thank you, everyone, for your vote for the JAMBA organization. I really appreciate that. And let's just hope that things are able to move forward because the kids, we already do boys on bikes. So we already have a little bit of a taste of it happening, and the kids absolutely love that. That's happening at the same time as Girls on the Run, by the way. So speaking of, that's our laughter program. We also have cooking in place for this time around, as well as gardening, and they visit the library every week. So also our Outdoor Wilderness Learning and Survival, OWLS acronym, is in place, and we have been having just an awesome time. We started to build our shelter, we had a fire, we drank tea, we went on a wander. So we spend our Friday mornings outside no matter the weather, and we are learning a whole lot. And let's see, what else? I started our building-based professional development, part of my UVEI program. I am providing guidance to my staff about building family engagement. So we explored cultural influences, and in preparation for our parent-teacher conferences, we had a discussion about how can we plan for two-way communication with equity in mind for everybody. And another big thing is that we have our dental pouches in place around the school in each classroom. So in the morning, everyone brushes their teeth. After lunch, everyone brushes their teeth. And it's just part of our routine to promote dental health. So thank you to the Stratton Foundation for providing all of our dental pouches. And like I said before, parent conferences were held. I would have hoped to have had a better turnout, but I can understand just the timing and such. So we're still working on rescheduling some people to come in. But we did have a grade 5 parent information meeting where we talked about Keewaydin, watched a video, talked about expectations, and we also talked about our 5th grade graduation, which again is the 80s themed party. So that's what's happening at Jamaica Village School. And does anybody have any questions for me?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Peter has a question.
Peter.
So another acronym, UEVI, was that it?
Oh, don't make me say that one. Okay, that's the that's the Vermont Educators
Upper Valley
Institute.
Education Institute.
I'm getting my principal certification, so I'm going there. So I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, so with the 80s theme graduation, what will be the appropriate outfits? Are we talking like Van shoes and like...
Yes, Van shoes, leg warmers, lots of neon.
Okay.
Yes, and I do need to correct myself. It's the Upper Valley Educators Institute. I guess I should know where I'm attending. But yes, the 80s theme we're looking forward to. Footloose is going to be our dance because we have to have a dance every year, you know. And so we're going to have a great time planning that. And it'll be a great break after we get through our testing season to just focus on this fun event at the end of the year that the entire school participates in.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Don't forget the Aquanet.
Right on, thank you.
I just have a quick question. For your Friday morning OWLS program, where you spent the morning outside, are you in need of any equipment or gear for that program?
Oh, that is a great idea. I will pass along your question to Jamie, who is our facilitator. So I will ask her day after tomorrow if we need anything, and I'll get back with you. So thank you, Heidi.
Mud boots and rain pants can be really helpful this time of year.
So I just have one question about moving stumps. I'm just picturing little ones on bobcats or.
We roll them.
You do, okay.
Carefully.
Want to check that's for our insurance company too? The kids running Bobcats.
Bobcats, do not tell my kid. He's transferring.
Too cool.
We didn't use
No. All right. Thank you, Monica. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Where's my glasses? Oh, Renee. Yes. Go ahead, Renee.
Does Townsend have Bobcats?
Hello. Let's see, I've got a whole list here for you guys. So our Farm to School Committee has some exciting stuff coming up. So after break, they have planned to start our garden build. We got permission from the church to have part of their property so that we could build some raised beds for our garden and also put a garden shed next to that. So that's really exciting. We'll get to use that with some of the farm to school lessons. They're also planning a trip to Meadowsby Farm, which is up Windham Hill Road. So kind of a local CSA farm trip for our school. And we'll do 2 to 3 groups of grade level students to go there, keep the numbers down. But we're planning that in the beginning of May. And we also have a whole school field trip coming up for the end of May to the Mount Shire Museum, which was funded by our PAC group. So they've approved that, and we're all really excited to attend that. And it'll be a nice big celebration for the end of the year. We had our pre-K registration on March 22nd, and so far we have about 22 students enrolled total. We always get a little bit more throughout the summer as well. And then we had our follow-up teddy bear tea to that on April 3rd. So that was not super greatly attended. We tried versus the afternoons, which had been previous, which kind of ran into nap time. We tried the morning time this year and didn't really get any more attendance. So maybe thinking about switching it to maybe a Saturday next year or something like that, where we might get more of the community to actually come. Doesn't seem to be really affecting our registration numbers, but it'd be nice to see a little bit more of a attendance at something like that. We have June 14th scheduled as our 5th grade graduation. So the evening at 5:30 at night then. We'll say goodbye to our 5th graders and welcome them into the Leland and Gray community. We also had our parent-teacher conferences. We offered in Zoom or in person, depending on the family, and we had a great percentage of 93% attendance of all our families, which I thought was pretty awesome. And hiring, we're doing pretty good. We have, like, all our classrooms are staffed, but we also are in need of some academic support teachers. So if people know of any new educators out there, send them over to Townsend. We'd love to have them. And we just also, in the PBIS world, a team of us went to the PBIS training in Killington as a team and learned about some targeted training for behavioral supports, and we're really excited. We're going to start like a pilot group on some targeted behavioral plans and then try to continue that next year using in conjunction with the Panorama platform that the district has adopted. And we also just earned another PBIS whole school celebration. So about 90 of us played Fishy Fishy Cross My Ocean out on the common, and we only needed 2 ice packs. So that was a win.
Wow. Thanks, Renee.
I think that's it.
Is that-
Anything else?
Yeah. Richard?
So just enrollment numbers, because I know we're going to be talking.
Copy too, yeah. Go ahead.
So our enrollment for the students coming in, I guess our 2 preschool classes, which would be indicating kind of what we have for incoming students. So what are we anticipating for student counts for next year for the 2 preschool classes?
So there's 23 students total right now.
Between both?
I think I said 22 before. No, for total 3 and 4 year olds.
Do we know? So that seems like a very small number.
I would expect that you usually pick up between 20% to 30% in the summer. So
Yeah,
even then, you're still at 30 maybe.
So between 2 groups.
I can definitely say, like, the day before school started last year, we had like 3 people enroll for pre-K the day before it started. So I don't know how many throughout the summer, but we definitely get a lot of last minute.
Kindergarten is by far the best measure because.
Yeah, as we talk about building capacity, if we're looking at student number drops that are that low, that certainly have an effect on student capacity. So do we know how many eligible preschool students are not choosing to use our program?
I do not know that offhand, but I could.
I mean, is that data something that is available?
It's not like database data, it's like phone call data. Like, oh, Jamaica Town Clerk, who was born 4 years ago, do they still live in town? Are they eligible to be a 4-year-old for the 4-year-old program?
It just seems like a small number when, we were looking at basing our class sizes on 3 times that when we were looking at space requirements, so.
Instead of, 12 a class.
Yeah, we were looking at 30 a class, so.
Yeah.
The numbers just got my attention.
No, it's good. I try to look at kindergarten because that's when they have to be here versus when they choose to be here.
So what's our total kindergarten count for next year?
I have no idea. I can get that.
At Townsend?
Yeah, sure.
I think we're like 16 to 18, actually. It's a pretty large class.
And then we'll find out.
Comparatively.
We have 2 in Jamaica, and then we can ask Scotty.
We'll ask Scotty.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to do some math.
I think we can do that.
I already did
That
the
one we
first
can
part in my
figure
head.
out, yeah.
7, we got 17. Yeah.
Yep.
Plus 2, 19.
I got that.
Plus-
And then
I did
Scotty's
that.
gonna tell us
My
right
head.
now. Scotty, how many incoming kindergartners?
So I would urge some caution around making any predictions at this time of year.
How many do you know?
I at one point about 7 years ago, I hired an extra teacher based upon some data that I had this time of year, and it really burned me. And so I try to wait until the summertime to really look at that data. What I would say though is when you're looking at pre-K, Drew, one thing we need to remember is that we also have Timson Hill and Susie's Little Peanuts feed in our schools as well. So when we're talking about the total class size of what will be our kindergarten in 2 years, we need to remember that we have 2 other feeding schools, even though they're privates, that do feed our schools. So what I think we ought to do, if you want, is maybe for next month we could get you some what we know for sure right now coming from all the schools, just so you have that information. Does that sound right?
Yeah, why don't you head that up? But also, how many kindergarten students are you expecting now? Do you know that?
For K.
For K.
I don't know. I think right now we had 14,
Okay.
but I'm not sure of that, and so I'm not sure of that.
Okay.
Okay, confirm. That would be what we would expect. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Back to Renee. Any other questions for Renee? Good point. No? All right. Scotty, you're up.
Thank you. So I want to first draw attention, we on April 5th, it was, and I don't know where they come up with these days, because there's a day for about everyone except for principals and superintendents, I think, but it was Paraeducator Appreciation Day. And I just want to say that Jenny Ather and Brittany Best and Aaliyah Kimball and Layla Lewis and Wendy McFadden, our paras are really the heartbeat of our school, and they allow us to do the work that we do. So I just wanted to shout out to them and say thanks. I also, the board might already know, and I know that many members of you know, but we had a loss of service, transportation service. And I want to thank West River Transit, and I want to thank Greg Frost for being so forthright with information and allowing me to communicate this really, for some families, really difficult news as quickly as I could. We had one bus that was not running in the afternoons for 5 days, and they were very quick as they could be, and they got us back up and going. And so I just wanted to say thanks to them. I also wanted to say that I had a resignation this week, and we're losing an ethical and diligent child-centered grade 2 teacher. And so I posted over the weekend, and I already have some applications, so that's good. I also want to say that I've been working with Bob and a team, hiring, interviewing, and getting ready to do our second interviews for the equity position in our district. And Bob and I both agree. I mean, it's really pretty amazing the amount of talent that we got from our posting.
we're very hopeful that we're going to be able to hire someone who's really, really effective and really kid-centered and really able to connect with teenagers and with youngsters. So that'll be really fun. I want to thank our Unified Arts team. They have a student art show, and it's SU-wide. So one cool thing that happened last year is that we have these PD days, and we had traditionally been, it would be an English language arts day, like a reading comprehension in service, and we would have to have like our art teacher and our librarian come because we didn't have other things for them to do. And last year, I think that it was Bill's idea. We ended up having the Unified Arts teacher create a project, and the result of that project is on display at the Newfane Public Library right now. It's all centered around some Red Clover books that were read with the kids, and it's got a musical element and a book element and an art element. And it's a really amazing thing, and I've heard lots of really great things from members of the public. I also wanted to say that Bob and Rich, as part of our data collection, our street data collection for the Jedi team, they came to visit Newbrook and came to our staff meeting. We were just like kind of the pilot, the first one. That was this Monday. And I was just so proud of the staff, and I was just so proud sitting there listening to them talk about what they feel the Jedi team needs to be working on. And I was really pleased, and I was really thankful to Bob and Rich for having the time to do that kind of data collection. And I also really loved that our incoming superintendent was there at my building in a staff meeting. I thought that was a really nice move, and it was just I think that everybody has felt really comfortable and productive. And so I'm really thankful for that. We took a group of 3rd and 4th graders to the Brattleboro Museum and Art Center this month. They were doing a unit on graffiti art in their art class, and we tied it to some books that or some short stories they were reading in class, and then they went and saw the contents of the museum. Miss Sperling's 3rd graders are doing a food drive for the Thompson Food Shelf. And that has been successful, and I believe it ended today, although I wasn't at school today, I was at leadership. And I guess that's really the nuts and bolts of what I wanted to talk about. Any questions?
Thanks, Guy.
Me and my requests. So you have got me thinking, mentioning your job posting at Newbrook. And I was wondering if maybe we could make a little section in the principal reports that is for new hires, or if people change positions maybe within the, still within the school, that might not be like made publicly known, or at least to us. Or if there's job postings still available. And that might just drive home to anybody who looks at our minutes and our principal reports that, look, we really still need these positions, because I know every year we've had ones that don't get filled, and there's implications for that. So I would just love to have that just be a thing.
So like org changes?
Yeah, whatever that would be.
Got it. Yeah. Great.
Had I thought about it, I could have put it under high quality staffing, and that's probably where that kind of report could go. So if you want, I think that's a great idea, Lindsay, because I think the more advertising we can do, the better. And it's also important for us to know that we don't have a lot of turnover, which really says a lot about our SU in general. But I think that's where it would probably go, would be under high quality staffing, and it would just iterate just exactly what you said. These changes occurred, or we're looking for this person, or somebody resigned in these positions.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe make it like the lead piece of so we would catch it and see it. Yeah. I think Crystal, and then I'll go to Peter. Go ahead, Crystal.
So one of my boys now attends Townsend School. So he does the laughter program in Jamaica. So the boy that was still left in Wyndham was feeling quite upset that he wasn't able to do laughter. And of course, he doesn't want to be anywhere near his brother. So I reached out to Mariah at Newbrook, who accepted the other brother. And I just wanted to let Scotty know that he loves the laughter program there. You know, he originally was like, I want to be in Townsend, I want to be in Townsend. And since going to Newfane, he's like, I want to go to Newfane. They are the nicest kids. So I thought I would let Scotty know that his kids at Newbrook are very welcoming. My grandson is loving it and thinks that it's a beautiful school with nice students and very nice teachers.
Thank you, Crystal. I should also mention that Mariah and Kristen, who run our program, thank you, Crystal. Mariah and Kristen, who run our program, immediately opened up the program to anybody who couldn't get there at 3 o'clock to get their kids who would have normally taken the bus when the bus was down. And I thought that was just a really nice collaborative feel to that. It was a quick answer from them that they could help out. And our librarian Fiona also set up a kind of a ride share kind of carpooling app for the families. I don't think it ever got the ball rolling really because the bus company was so quick to get their route back up. But I was very thankful this week to a lot of really hardworking people.
Thanks, guys. Pete? Which acronym?
No, not an acronym question this time. Actually, the point about the bus brought up a question I meant to ask earlier, which is I saw Facebook posts and I just haven't had the opportunity to catch myself up with, are there other routes that were out or still are out?
My understanding was one route in the afternoon for 5 days.
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. Thank you.
Good question.
Bill, actually, if I could jump in there, there is another route. There's some other impacted routes for a couple days this week based on another illness.
Oh.
I think that might be specific to Leland. I'm not certain, but that's already been sent out to parents.
Sounds good.
Have those bus issues affected attendance at any of the schools for any kids or families?
They were in the afternoon, so I don't
They weren't.
know.
They weren't mornings.
It was just the afternoon room.
Thanks.
I don't know about the Leland.
Good question.
There were more.
Go ahead, Scotty, and then Bob.
In fact, because kids were able to get to school, but I would say that it was very impactful for a few families. I would say there were a significant number of families that had significant hardship. Some families were able to pivot and change their schedules at work. Some families were able to carpool, but all the kids were at school. But I think that there was some significant hardship and maybe some loss of income.
Thanks, Scott. Go ahead, Bob.
No, he's good.
Oh, you good? All right. Sounds good. Okay. If nothing else, we'll move on to Bill's report.
So I provided you a written report, but just a couple highlights. Our leadership team finished our annual review of a continuous improvement plan for the WCSU. We'll present that on April 26th to the board. Peter, April 26th, invitation coming. Dana, April 26th. Zoom, 7 o'clock. Today is the first day of Cognia testing. So just to alert the board that will be happening in all the schools. This is the new test. It is not SBAC, it's called Cognia. It is a unbelievably poor rollout.
That's a great way to.
Sounds great. We got an AOE letter today from the interim Secretary of Education explaining the challenges with the rollout. I expect a couple letters or articles in the papers that you'll see. Essentially, you've got an entire new test that students are going to be presented on, and it'll be treated as like a benchmark first time. The data will not be available until September, and particularly in the 9th grade year, it is not aligned to the standards of Vermont
Super
in
helpful.
100% way. So that data will have to be scrubbed and filtered in some way. So just so you guys know, if you get some, God, what is going on with this testing? That is what is going on. It was,
So glad it was
the
vetted.
AOE did a procurement process that was supposed to be completed in May of 2022. It was completed in November. And so then the rollout began in December, and their technology director resigned. And then essentially, they have to do it because all the federal dollars are based on taking this assessment. And we need 95% of students to take it.
So how do you explain to the students that are going to be taking the test that they need to take this test that is not based on the knowledge that they're expected to know?
So ninth grade is very different than everything else. And it's not that it's not aligned, it's just not 100% aligned. Because Cognia is a national test, and SBAC was able to select for different states. But the other grades of 3 through 8 that will be taking the test, it does match what is being assessed.
And if the data doesn't come out until September or October?
Yeah, usually.
How does that create value to our students?
This one will be different than in future years. SBAC, for example, was great because we would get it in June. We could spend the summer looking at the trends, looking at how individual students did, but really the value for us was looking at how was our instruction preparing our students to demonstrate their knowledge. This particular one will just be longer before we get it, but I don't think, my understanding is that will not be the case in the future. But yes, it is still very important to do your best and demonstrate your knowledge.
You forgot
Create a
about
benchmark.
juniors take this test.
You take the full test? I thought it was just ninth grade.
It's on the calendar.
Junior has to, junior, I know because I got.
You didn't
presented.
take it last year.
Well, I was in a junior last year.
I know this, because I was taking this test last week.
Okay, all right. Well, okay, so juniors should take it too.
Yep, sophomores are not, that's why I didn't take it last year. So
Okay. Well, you're fine.
It's my favorite part of the meeting.
It was fine. It's just ninth grade.
Maybe I had superintendent's day.
When SBAC first came out, all the board members, and this is what, 10, 12 years ago, took the 6th grade test.
Okay.
There are sample test questions online that anyone can access.
Oh, you take that 3rd grade test, man. Whew. It is not.
Good luck.
Challenge.
Oh, it is.
I might do
You're
it.
smarter than
I
a 5th
tried,
grader.
but then the phone went
It is
off.
challenging. So that's what I have. I don't take any questions if anybody has any.
Go ahead, Peter. See it at the tip of your tongue.
So I remember taking 2 different tests, and I believe an ACT test and then the SBACs.
Yeah.
And so this is replacing the SBACs.
This is replacing the SBAC. ACT is a standalone assessment.
Cool. Thank you.
Hey, what does ACT stand for?
No idea.
Neither do
I'm sure it's maybe assessment centralized
Annual
test. Yeah.
Consortium.
Who knows?
Thank you. That's good.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right, old business. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of March 8th, 2023.
So moved.
Got a second?
Second.
Thank you. Starting with some folks. All those in favor say aye. Emily. Let's start with Emily. Sorry, it's getting late.
Yes, it is.
Joe.
Aye.
Crystal.
Aye.
Sarah.
Aye.
Kate.
I assume I can't vote since I wasn't on
You
the
can
board at that
abstain.
meeting.
Yeah.
Aye.
So, abstention. And Peter, you said you were not here.
I'll abstain as well.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. All right. What's that come to? 9 in favor, 2 abstentions?
2 abstentions, yeah.
All right. Motion passes. Thank you. Entertain a motion on the approving the
Financials. I have 3 vouchers. Joe concurs with me. Voucher number 1, I need approval for $77,796.41. Second voucher, $2,803.59. And the last voucher for $222,179.94.
That makes sense to me. I'll second it.
Any discussion? Seeing none. Starting with you, Emily.
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Crystal?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
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 And aye. Motion carries unanimously. They're funded. Thank you. All right, moving on to the long-term planning update. Do you want to take a crack at it?
Maybe?
We can help.
Or Dan?
So,
Yes.
the administration took the Stevens and Associates report and brought some real world knowledge to the situation and pieced together some information based on all of that data, and basically came to the conclusion that with just the existing facilities as they are between the Townsend Elementary building and the Leland and Gray building, that it doesn't really fit to put an entire campus or entire student body in those two buildings. And so then they came up with a couple of other solutions, being what if we added some space, one way or another, or relocated. There was some discussion about relocating pre-K possibly. All of this conversation basically turned into, we need to have a lot more conversation. And what is currently, so the current task, which was, can you make one campus with what we have, is sort of, no, we need to do a little more than what we have, somehow, some way. So I guess my personal thought would be that it makes sense to have a committee of some sort. But I know that we have done this so many times. I have been on so many committees. I am personally feeling frustrated is about as nice as I can put it. And I think that we need to have like a real coming to Jesus moment about this, because here we are.
Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to add one thing that has developed since we met with the board members, is that we were approached by a local landlord who has some office space very adjacent to our properties. Greg Frost and I did a tour of that building to look at office space. So it's very possible that if the appetite continues for a one campus model, that space could potentially, for much less cost than building or adding on to, could provide the overflows office spaces and staff spaces that we were talking about that we didn't have at both Townsend and Leland and Gray, for a rental cost rather than additions or constructions. So my suggestion would be is that the board, to give us really the next step, the board needs to determine like what is the community's appetite for one campus, or are there other scenarios that have been, I mean, we all know what the options what they are, but what's the community's appetite, what's the board's appetite for one campus versus other types of things, and then the administration is happy to be pointed in a direction to do exploration like we did with this one, to suss out the nuts and bolts, if you will, of the different ideas. But yeah, it does feel like, I think you're right, that it does need to be some sort of like converging moment to come up with an idea around what are we actually looking at, and what's the community's appetite for a couple different options. So that's all I'm saying. But I want to put out there that other building has a potential to still meet the one campus model with the pre-K off-site. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thanks, Bob. Go ahead, Drew.
So as we continue to look at the same problem again, I would like to remind the board that we are looking at this year 10% increases per pupil, 10% tax increases in Brookline, Jamaica. Newfangled ended up with 2.3. Wyndham's looking at 20%, and we did that by using fund balances at both the SU level and the local level. So we have a challenge coming because we've been artificially paying our bills with fund balances and ESSER funds and pandemic-related surplus for a long time. So we don't have much more time to make these difficult decisions. We've run out. We've kicked the can, and the taxpayers are going to feel it this year, and they're really going to feel it next year. So
that doesn't even factor in the CLA.
No.
Good time to be new board members. It's going to be very exciting.
Bob, did you have something else?
No, I just forgot to my hand.
Oh, okay. Dan.
At that meeting, there was discussion about creating 2 committees. Actually, I wouldn't want to call them committees at this point, like what Drew's saying. Coming up with a short-term plan and a long-term plan. Short-term with
3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years to dealing with the 10% increases. Making something happen so we can maybe negate some of that. And then have a long-term plan, committee, whatever, and that'd be the dream school. The one plan that solves all our problems. Or not, but.
Right, yeah, I agree with you, Dana. That's kind of what I took out of it, as well as the, whatever you want to call it now, the intermediate plan, and then, hey, what do we want to do at the end of the day? How do we create a generational change where for the next 25, 50 years, we have something in place that will be sustainable? So the 3 to 5 year, what we were talking about was potentially, as Bob was alluding to, looking at, what are other places around that we could cobble together to create that unified one campus model. I'm using that as somewhat one campus, right? Looking at right, all within the same geography of Townsend, downtown Townsend.
As opposed to uptown. Let's be very clear.
We have a downtown. Yeah, what am I saying? And then the longer term being, do we need to build? Do we need to ask the state for funding? When is funding coming? Is the state thinking about these things? As they should.
Emily controls all the funding at the state.
Yeah, of course.
She should be able to tell us that.
I mean, there are a lot. I don't think we're alone in terms of a school that is aging. There are many, many other districts that are facing the same issue. So yeah, I think the state at some point was going to have to step in. And yeah, Emily, if you want to share anything on that, that'd be great.
I don't have anything to share beyond yes.
So yes, there is school construction money?
I'm sorry?
So yes, there's school construction money?
No. Yes, there is a conversation ongoing about this and a recognition of the need. There's still assessments going on for the need.
But there's no school construction aid?
No.
At this time, no.
So we're on our own. We got to solve this locally.
At the very least in the short term.
So do we task ourselves with coming up with a short-term plan and a timeline? what's the timeline look like? We do this like for next year, or do we, well, we're not gonna drag it out for 3 years, so either this next year or the coming year after. That will be the deadline.
For implementation.
Yeah. We have to
So
pick a timeline and stick with it.
Go ahead, Lindsay.
my only thought at the moment is that committee work has been redundant, and the board has not necessarily taken the committee's work, I don't know. They
Made actionable.
yeah, they don't want to take just the committee's work, right? So if the board is not going to want to make a committee and then do what the committee decides, then the board needs to do the work with everybody, because whatever happens next, like, is going to be a thing that's happening. Like, we need to do it, not make a committee and then rehash it again with everybody again, and then decide that, okay, well, I guess we didn't involve everybody again, right? We've done years now, we've done this. It's time, and so however we can make this happen, I think we just all need to agree that we need to make it happen.
We've come to the same conclusion. Almost every discussion comes to the same place. So I don't know that we need to have more, I don't think we need to identify the challenges. I think we've identified the challenges effectively every single time we've studied this. We just don't like the solutions, so we keep studying the problem again. The problem hasn't changed.
True, but I would say that the solution that we come up with, or have come up with, it doesn't always necessarily, I mean, we look at what is possible, right? There's all kinds of things that we could look at as, what is the possible thing that we can do? Then the second question has to be, what is the right thing to do, right? So can we fit 3 through 12 in Leland and Gray as it exists? Sure, probably we could. Would involve hacking up the library and some other things, but is that the right thing to do? So that's the more challenging question, I think. And I think in looking at some of the potential real estate in this area, which Bob's doing and others doing, if we could find something that would help, you know, fix that gap where we don't want to have, I don't think anybody wants to have 3rd and 4th graders in here. I'm not feeling a great sentiment for that. So how do we solve for that, right? Is it by looking at some of the real estate around here? Could we fix it? Sounds like we're already on the way. So maybe the thing that we task the administration with is, let's uncover everything within this area, you know, as long as we can call it a one campus. Is there other real estate that is potentially on the market that we could look at to help solve that?
I agree with you. I just don't want to go back to the beginning and studying the problem again, because I think we've beat that dead horse. We know what our challenges are. We know what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
I've been a part of at least 4 studies identifying the same exact issue. So let's not do that.
And Joe before you.
And Joe's done clean.
Yeah, right.
So
Redux.
now we just need now we need to work on the solution part.
Mm-hmm.
So we call it not a committee, a solution team.
There you go. I like it. Kate.
You're gonna have to humor new member questions,
No,
but
please.
I wasn't clear to me as a community member that unified campus is a community or board decision. Is that sort of implicit in this conversation? And it would be helpful to understand if that's a decision, a tacit or an explicit one that has been made.
So the legal parameters are, if a building is not operated on a daily basis for the education of the students in the pre-K through 12 West River Education District. Do you understand that? If a building is not used for that purpose daily, then you must ask the town to have the building not operate for the education of the students in pre-K through 12. It's a binary choice. So hypothetically, if I was in control and I wanted to put all kindergartners in Townsend and all 1 through 4 in Jamaica and 5th graders in Newbrook and 6 through 12 in Leland and Gray, that would satisfy that, because all buildings would be used for the education of pre-K through 12. So as long as all buildings are used for the pre-K through 12, that is a board reorganization. If they are not, then the town has to have a vote to say, we agree that we will not use it for pre-K through 12 education. That's the legal parameter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead with your question. I may push a little more, humor me, it's not to be difficult, but it's just to make sure I can participate in the conversation.
Just quick, and so when you say daily, you mean Monday through Friday work?
School year.
School year, okay.
So you can't say it's only going to be an after-school site.
Okay.
Things like that. Now, if you get creative and get a little messy, you're going to need some legal opinions on what the statute says. But in general, that is the description of the statute. Using for educational purposes during the school year for your pre-K through 12 population.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to follow up. So the conversation we're having now is a board conversation about shuffling bodies, assuming the school campuses will still be there, or are we telling folks that next year we're contemplating that Newbrook as we know it will not exist as a school as we know it? That's an important clarification for me.
I mean, sure, we're contemplating that, but as Bill said, we have no ability to do that. I mean, we can suggest, and that would be part of our recommendation, but it would have to come to a town vote.
So we're back to this, like, the sort of medium term or a 5-year plan is like everything's still on the table. That's just helpful to understand, because there's a long history in the conversation that I'm gonna work to get caught up in as quickly as I can.
Yeah, so I don't think there's no decision that's been made.
No.
So
No.
we're still exploring options.
Yeah, definitely no decision.
So, but the challenges that exist are, we have a declining student enrollment, increasing per pupil costs that are putting high financial burdens on our taxpayers, which are then limiting the educational programming we can offer for students. We're also not offering our students the best possible education because we are not allowing the collaboration between educators that we could if we were to put all of, say, the 3rd graders in the same building. The teachers would be able to collaborate better. We've heard that loud and clear from our teachers and our administrators, that there's a better model. So we've taken all of that information. It's all available on our website. I think we've taken that at least a dozen times. So by putting all of that together, the most equitable, cost-effective solution would be to bring all the students together into a single place. The discussion was, can we do that? Does it fit? Does it work? Operationally, we asked the administration to look at, can that work?
We hired a architectural firm to see if it could physically work rather than us guessing.
So that was really just a design assessment. It wasn't not a school assessment.
Yeah, that's
Got
exactly.
it. Okay.
Looking
Okay.
at
That's helpful.
square footage and how much space each student needs and how
many classrooms.
and
Got it.
more of
I
a
hadn't understood
mathematical,
that was the
more of
scope
a
was-
mathematical.
The
yeah, it was
actual
like
hard
technical, right?
conversations about what you just brought up, of what buildings are operating, where are the students, that is what we're all alluding to, is that kind of has to be the next step in the conversation.
But that's an open conversation. It's not.
There's nothing set
decided.
in stone, no.
Haven't had that one yet.
No.
We need to have that one. 'Cause we keep getting to this point
Yeah.
and backing away from it. We get to the point where it's like, we need to have a hard conversation with the community, and they're like, ooh, you know what, let's study it again.
It's a
It's time to have a
political
hard
charge.
conversation with the community.
Yeah, I understand that, as like, as
Yeah.
a Newfane resident, I'm like, who from Newfane is gonna send their kid to Townsend if they can send them from Brattleboro? That's the only choice. I mean, that's my gut reaction, so I hear you on that, but I'm happy to keep listening and learning. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we've got two hands.
Bob, did you have any?
Yeah, I guess I just want to throw out there again that I used the word appetite before. I think that I'm not disagreeing with Drew's assessment of what the options are to consolidate and put the one campus model does do the things that you want to achieve. But I guess hearing that too, like the comment that was just made, what's the community's appetite for that? Is the idea that we put together a really firm proposal of showing what this would look like and bring it to the community and do a traveling roadshow and try to pitch it, and that's sort of the next step, and then see what the argument is, and is it just like, this is a hard conversation, we have to have it, and this is how we have it, or are we looking at this or this and show the costs and benefits of both? Because I think what Drew is pointing out is that there's financial costs, obviously, that are relevant. There's also political costs, I think, that you have to kind of consider as well. So I'm just curious, what do we feel like after all the analysis that's been done, do we feel like we have our finger on the pulse of what the community, A, wants, and B, will tolerate? And I don't know that, I mean, that's my question to you guys. Do you feel like you know that information right now?
No.
I think it depends on which community you're speaking of.
So-
There's
Well,
clarification.
here's
Yeah.
So here's where
Yeah,
I'll challenge
yeah.
that. So right now, if you have not been involved in the discussion, if you have not looked at the data, then you're immediately going to emotional decision making. Like that's what so if we put out there into the public right now, without putting together a package of information, and we reached out to the audience and said, what do you think? It's immediately going to be emotional. I'm tied to my school. I love my school. It was good for my kids. I don't want my kids to go somewhere else. As a board, we are tasked with gathering that information, processing that information, making a recommendation to the public based on the information that we have gathered. That's our responsibility. Now, they don't have to agree with us, but we should be providing the public back actual data and information as to what it looks like and why. That way the public can, when they vote, because they're going to have to vote, can make an informed decision, not an emotional decision. And we keep getting to this point where we're going to have a conversation, and after this video, next meeting, we will have 50 people from the public here that are going to instantly come in here and show us their emotion. And we're going to back away and go, let's study it again. We've done this time and time again. It is time for this board to do what we were elected to do, put the information together and put it back out to the public and have the hard conversation. There are good reasons to change the structure that we currently have. There are good academic reasons, there are good financial reasons,
They're good social emotional
there's
reasons.
good social emotional reasons. We've heard it. We've heard it so many times and it's been consistent every single time. The data has not changed in any of the studies that we've done. We have all the information about septic capacities and building capacities, and we know what we can offer our students for services that'll be better if we do certain things versus other things. We have that information. We need to do something with it. And I would say we need to do something with it pretty quick, because we need to incorporate it in our budget for next year. There's a change. It needs to happen. Are we going to go back to the taxpayers and say, hey, because of our unwillingness to make the recommendation to you, your taxes are going up 20% and your students are missing opportunities? That's what we have to offer them. Our inaction is going to cost them more and cost opportunities.
Thanks, Drew. Emily.
So, I've been looking at this for, I don't know, 25 years between schools. And what you're all saying is true. And what Drew just said is absolutely true. The board does need to make a recommendation at some point. I am not sure the board is ready yet to make that recommendation because we've been working with a long-term planning group and engineers and all of that. We need to dig in deep before we're ready to make a recommendation. I don't want to go down that path tonight at 9 o'clock at night. But I do think we need to continue to explore this. We've got a lot more tools to look at, data to look at, and make a decision. I recognize what Drew was saying and what others may be feeling about the timeline and the hurry. We can't make assumptions that our taxes are going to go up 20% next year. I don't know if they will. I literally don't know. I think we should err on the side of caution. The one thing I do want to mention, I had said we don't have aid for construction, and that is true. But we did pass, and it only passed in the House, and it's currently in the Senate right now, but we did pass a school construction bill that is a task force to look at aid just for school construction. And it also, we added into it the PCB pieces to look at. So as challenging as that seems when it's just a task force, it's farther than we've gotten in many years. It's been 20 years or something since we've had school construction aid. There's a scrambling for it across the state and deep need. We will find out a lot more about what the need will be. And I believe that report, if I'm remembering correctly, the report is due January 15, 2024. So that I would recommend, if this actually does pass through the Senate and is signed into law, we should definitely be keeping in mind that there could be a possibility of school construction aid, and it actually does matter if that's coming. So I throw that out there just because I kind of assumed people knew that we were looking at a task force. Maybe you didn't know that, so I wanted to make sure that that was on everyone's radar.
Thanks, Emma. That's helpful. We will get to you guys in a moment. Peter.
Just a quick, I do think one point, and it doesn't need much discussion tonight, but just a point that I think should be brought up is that I've been trying to engage in a lot of community rebuilding in the local community. And one complaint that's brought up a lot is that when information is gathered and given to the public, is that the way that it is given is can be not accessible to certain populations. And so just, I think it really needs to be looked at trying to get the information out as many ways as possible, in local papers, in in-person meetings, in online meetings, because if we really want to inform the public, we need to inform them in every which way possible so that as many people as possible are actually informed.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Anything else on that before I turn it over to our folks in the public?
You scared most of them off.
Yeah, right. Yes, please go ahead.
I've been on working with some of the committees or attending the meetings, and I am all for a single campus. I mean, I look at Floodbrook and see how well they're doing. But our local grade schools are doing really well too. And unless you come up with something really good, I don't think people are going to want to abandon their grade schools to cram all these kids in together. I mean, we have good teachers, we have good principals, and Jamaica School is really great. And you probably don't want to hear this, but we would like a pre-K if this is going to take a while. The pre-K license was lapsed for some reason, and Jamaica School cannot grow if we don't get those younger kids coming in. If they end up going to Townsend, they never come back to Jamaica. So how can we grow our population? So if this is going to take more than a couple of years, we would like pre-K back at Jamaica School.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm just here with her, sorry.
Oh, okay.
You'll hear from me at a different point. I'm just enjoying this wonderful group of people and the information
Perfect.
about this school district.
Okay, well, this is your point during this meeting, if you wanted to say anything. We have a time for public comment, so unless you're talking about another meeting, at some other meeting.
No.
You good?
You'll see.
Well,
okay.
This is Benzie Ross from Jamaica, and we had an earlier meeting with Bob about an exciting proposal, but I don't think we're ready to
Not
bring
ready to
that.
propose it yet.
Right.
Okay.
But you will probably be hearing about it.
Oh, okay, great.
I don't necessarily like one of the words that was used, cram. It has a lot of negative connotations with it. I don't know that the data that we have, that I know about, necessarily lends itself to using the word cram.
I don't think we as a board would ever seek to cram kids.
I know,
But yes,
I was just,
comments.
yeah, I just wanted to state that
Sure.
I know the board is not looking to cram anyone.
No, definitely
Could I speak to that?
not. Okay.
I would agree that the board is not going to do that, but I think it can seem that we are going to cram folks into both these schools. I think that can be the public perception sometimes.
Gotcha, perception, right. Very good. Okay. Do we have a need for an executive session?
Yes, very, very brief.
So wait, what is our next step? We didn't ask anybody with anything. We just talked for 15 minutes or something and then didn't say what we're gonna do. Are we just gonna put it on the agenda and talk about it later? Are we tasking the administration with something in the moment?
Good point.
I have it on the agenda every day.
Cool.
Can we have the administration, as we were talking about, look
Yeah.
at? Yeah. Which I think they've already started to do, so yeah.
I would
So
say,
let's see what's available.
Hopefully more solid.
Bring that back.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Good point. Thank you, Lindsay. Appreciate it.
Accreditation thing before we.
I'm sorry.
Do you want me to read?
Oh, sure, go for it.
All right, I move to find that premature general public knowledge regarding legal information would put the board at substantial disadvantage because the school board is at risk of disclosing privileged legal information if discussed in public. I make a motion for the board to enter.
Yeah, we have to do the one and
We'll
then
do
the
it
other.
separate?
Separate, or does it matter?
I mean, I've been doing it both ways. As long as we say it and it's in there.
Let's put it, let's do
Do it together. I make the motion for the board to enter executive session under Title I, Section 313 of Vermont Statutes, Legal Consultation 313A1.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none. Emily, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Crystal?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Kate? Peter?
Aye.
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 And I. Okay, as soon as everybody who's not part of the executive session heads out, we will move in. All right, we're back. We're out of executive session and we have no action coming out of executive session.
Can I move to adjourn?
I will entertain that motion.
I'll second that.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, folks.
Safe trip home.
Bye, everybody.
Go well.
Thank you.